Great thread about incrementalisms. Pete's tweets about the airlines made me want a video game myself. Pete Buttigieg is truly the perfect expression of a neoliberal, man. It's amazing.
You're the best.
I keep seeing this take from centrist Dems that goes, Republicans got here through incrementalism. Progressives need to learn from their example and accept incremental change. It's been getting under my skin, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it until why just now. It goes down to one of my core problems, lack of vision or purpose from the, quote, very smart people wing of the party. Every Republican president since Gerald Ford has explicitly supported overturning Roe. They told the base, this is the goal. And so the base kept showing up. The theory of change shifted over time. For Ford and Reagan, it was a constitutional amendment. The Federalist Society model took over, and the Republicans sold the idea of judicial action. But the end goal, as stated clearly in the party platform since 1984, was overturning Roe. They told the base it was a game of increments, but the goal was always clear. Along the way, they had to load the lower courts to overtake the Supreme Court, and they kept the base fired up by passing trigger laws and pushing radical bills that were struck down. And every time a bill was struck down, the party made sure their messaging reaffirmed, look, we're right. We need to throw out these judges. We're fighting for an end goal. And they didn't, well, this is actually, it's even better than this because they kept chipping away. They kept getting wins. All right? Like we had what was known as trap laws, targeted restrictions against abortion providers. And they kept getting upheld. And so it was like a salami slice. They kept chipping away at Roe, chipping away at Roe. That's why so many liberals were like, they're not going to get rid of Roe. They're just going to chip again because they had seen the chips and liberals got accustomed to the rights being chipped away incrementally. They were used to it. That was the status quo. That was the plan. That was fine. We have a hype train, by the way. Thank you, everybody. And so liberals became complacent toward the erosion of rights. And then the Republicans, when they achieved the ability to achieve, when they have the ability to achieve final victory, they achieved it. They took it up. They won.
Just spent the weekend in Pittsburgh. Brew Gentleman is repping Braddock pretty hard all over the city. Awesome to see. It should help Fetterman win over the libs.
Very nice. Oh, hi, it's Brad. Glad to see it. Thanks for the 9 months. They gave passionate voters a clear goal and a consistent reason to keep showing up. Name one single comparable goal for Democrats that they have pushed forward. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. If you say, I support Medicare for all, they say, that's pie in the sky. That'll never happen. It doesn't matter if you say that's what JFK said. That's what FDR said. That's been in the Democratic Party platform. Single-payer healthcare has been in the platform before. Now, if you say it, every single leader of the Democratic Party finds you to be a target. They spend money attacking you.
Big love from Germany.
Same thing with student loan relief. The Democrats could say, our goal is to end student debt in America. But the moment they have that goal, suddenly they have to start doing shit. They can't even do that. So there's no goal. There's no goal. The best you get is a centrist goes and finds the least expensive focused group talking point they can come up with to try to debate against you. There's never any consistent goal or a thing we're aiming for. It's all short-term tactical shit every time. Wade Wilson, thanks for the 13 months. Appreciate that. They don't have principles. They stand on plant their flag, period. They always want to reach across the aisle. It's the Republicans are the ex-lover they want back. I mean, that analogy is it's more like they're the obsessed streamer fan that's like waiting outside your window, you know? You've never dated them, and they're just like, they have a whole mind palace fantasy. Thanks, Domkey, by the way, for the bits. Name one single comparable goal the Democrats have pushed forward. You can't. There isn't one. Democrats can't get together on wildly popular incremental ideas like expanding Social Security, capping RX costs, or universal background checks. Because none of these are actually goals. None of these are actually goals. Expanding Social Security shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be a fully financed retirement for every American elderly person. Oh, solving senior poverty should be the goal. Capping RX costs shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be providing prescription drugs to every American who needs them. Universal background check shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be the end of wanton gun violence in the country. Those are goals. These are just incremental policy bullshits. Like, they don't even know how to formulate a goal anymore. Even this guy who's critiquing the Democrats can't even formulate a goal because his brain is so trapped by neoliberalism. These are not big goals. These are tiny increments. And the Democratic Party is so fucking worthless that even talking about tiny increments is too much. When progressives put forward big goals, the response is that's impossible or don't be silly. Then centrists collaborate with the Republicans to weaken our biggest accomplishments or proactively cave to GOP messaging on everything from abortion to guns to taxes. Where the R establishment set a goal and pushed toward it, D establishment scolds progressives for being foolish if we put forward big ideas. They say we need to accept incrementalism, but never say towards what. Then they get mad when people don't show up for more of the same. Even in the wake of the Dobbs decision, Democratic leaders won't make a clear promise about what they'll do. Biden finally said we should have a filibuster carve-out for Roe, but no concrete commitments, much less a vote count to say with this many senators. And the court expansion is still off the table for the White House. So what's incrementalism pointing us toward? Until there's a clear goal for us to unite behind with party-wide unity, no. The slow Republican push that got us here is not analogous. I voted in every election since I turned 18. I understand that harm minimization of the stakes of the fight. I always vote blue in November and work to bring others along, but incrementalism is only motivating if there's a credible end goal and a fight to believe in. Currently yelling at me over this thread. Centrist Dems who think I'm living in fantasy land. Rose Twitter telling me I'm an enabler. Republicans high on Murdoch fumes. I mean, okay. People always have to complain about lefties. Fuck you. JNKD, thank you for the 26 months. And Hollywood Connor, thank you for the tier 3. What do you mean the Dems have no goal? They have satanic agenda. Well, that's the point, Zero Blaze. That's exactly right. Like, even Republicans making fun of Democrats can't even, they have to come up with something that's so, what's the word? They have to come up with something that's just so, as Fantasyland shit, because no one can look at the Democrats and think they have a goal. So you have to invent demonic agenda because their actual agenda is nothing. And this is something I tweeted earlier before the stream. What I tweeted earlier, imagine if Democrats were as cool as Republicans make them out to be, because Ronna McDaniel, the GOP chairwoman, said, make no mistake, if Democrats expand their Senate majority in 2022, they will pack the Supreme Court. Imagine if the Democrats actually had a plan to do anything like that. Imagine. I just saw that healthcare costs are about to skyrocket. Yep. I think the Dems' entire platform is let Republicans do heinous shit, then try to campaign off the fear it causes. Got it. Biden's deal with McConnell is that Biden gets 2 temporary prosecutors in return for a lifetime appointment to the federal bench. Biden struck a deal with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to nominate Chad Meredith, a Republican anti-abortion advocate, to a federal judgeship on the Eastern District of Kentucky. Under the arrangement, Meredith would take the seat currently occupied by Judge Karen K. Caldwell, a George W. Bush nominee. Caldwell submitted her move to senior status on June 22nd, which, once complete, would allow Meredith to take the seat. Caldwell conditioned her move upon the confirmation of successor, specifically the conservative Meredith. In exchange, McConnell will allow Biden to nominate and confirm 2 U.S. attorneys in Kentucky. Allow? They don't need his vote! Oh my God. I don't even know what to say, man. What can you even say? Joe Biden is a fucking loser. Delta pilots started picketing in the Atlanta airport. Let's fucking go.
So happy to be your best friend.
Hey, Schmoop. The 21 months. Thanks, bud.
I can actually watch you also instead of working on you. Thanks for everything, Mike.
Nice times to waste in plastic chairs. Thank you. So this is, you know, when you get the white guy brigade on the picket line, now you understand the power of class solidarity. If they wore masks on their planes, there would be fewer scheduling issues. I fucking hate liberals. I fucking hate liberals. Jesus Christ.
That's Praxis.
XQCL.
Thank you for the prime, buddy, unknown. Azov something coming out with another hot take. We need more leftist landlords. Hot take. We need more leftist landlords for the time being. That means property owners who don't fleece tenants, don't swallow the deposit because the tap doesn't shine as much, know tenants personally, don't racially discriminate, and don't threaten to throw out a single mom and her 2 kids because the rent was 0.2 milliseconds late. If you fancy yourself a leftist and have disposable income and properties around you are affordable, please do become a landlord. Better you than some spreadsheet fetishist ghoul. Now, chat, this is why Adam something is brain dead. And I want you to, it's not just because I'm going to insult him and call him brain dead, but this is actually a perfect example of why he's brain dead. And you can show this to him. This would be useful for him. Maybe study. The reason why this won't work is because of how capitalism, the algorithm itself, operates. If you are a business that decides, I'm not going to fleece my workers, I'm not going to fleece my tenants, I'm not going to maximize exploitation, the way that capitalist markets work is that there will be another firm that will, and they will get more and more and more market power, and they will have more and more wealth that they can then deploy to invest further. You will be behind the term. You will be subsidizing people personally. But for the market as a whole, it won't change a goddamn thing. And the firms that maximize exploitation maximize profit. And the more profit, the more capital. And the more capital, the more control. That's how capitalism works. You will never be able to fix capitalism by becoming a shitty business. Oh, my business loses money. I'm defeating capitalism. That's what Adam something is saying to do. Start a property management business that loses money. Capitalism is in shambles. That's legitimately what his argument is. Now, what a leftist would say is that we should organize collectively and use state power to transfer property from the bourgeois class to the proletariat, to build societies for the interest of the worker. If that means holding housing in common, hold land and housing in common. If that means create alternative forms of development run by the state, that's what we do. And the countries that do that the most have the best housing markets. And the countries that leave it up to Adam somethings are the worst. I mean, start a business that loses money. That'll help socialism is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Legitimately one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Only collective action, collective through tenants, collective through the working class, and we create programs that decommodify housing, remove housing from the market for the middle class, for the working class, for the poor. That should be our immediate short-term goal. My God, what an idiot. Absolute idiot. Fucking idiot. Holy shit, is he stupid. Like, legitimately, I mean, I think it's a troll. It's got to be a troll, but that's the actual response from somebody who understands capitalism from a leftist perspective. So this is a story that I heard that I have to show you because I think this is something that Democrats are covering up. The mainstream media is covering up, and it means that we are way closer to a literal civil war than anybody here could think possible. The thing about this kind of like rapid collapse of political stability is that no one really sees it coming and no one really believes it until it's here. And this story makes me think we're like right up against the edge.
Conservatives are still out there trying to discredit Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony by saying that the Secret Service says that she is lying. But in reality, the Secret Service is not saying that she's lying. Those 2 agents, Ornato and Engel, are saying that her story isn't exactly accurate. Parts of it, at least. They haven't, by the way, said that the entire story isn't accurate, just parts of it. So, right off the bat, conservatives are already lying about what these 2 Secret Service agents had to say. But according to author and journalist Carol Leonnig with the Washington Post, who, by the way, wrote a book on the Secret Service, she says that many of the Secret Service agents immediately around Trump actually supported the insurrection as it was taking place in the United States Capitol. Here is what Leonnig had to say to Rachel Maddow earlier this week. There was a very large contingent of Donald Trump's detail who were personally cheering for Biden to fail. Some of them even took to their personal media accounts to cheer on the insurrection and the individuals rioting up to the Capitol as patriots.
Now, chat.
That is problematic. I'm not saying that Tony Ornato or Bobby Engel did that, but they are viewed as being aligned with Donald Trump, which cuts against them. However, if they testify under oath, this is what happened, I think that is going to be important.
Now, see, the Democrats are checkmated because the problem that we're facing right now, and let me put this quote back on, the problem that we're facing right now is that the Democrats are so weak that they can't act. And this is a thing that I don't think that leftists are taking as seriously, and I guess I'll just be the one to do it. It's fine. I'll be Cassandra. It doesn't matter. Basically, if the Democrats were to do something like codify Roe, if the Democrats were to do something like ban political gerrymandering, if the Democrats were actually to prosecute insurrectionists, Republicans are not just going to sit back and take it. They're going to respond and they're going to escalate. And eventually it may take what it took to do racial desegregation, which was what? You put the military into Little Rock, Arkansas to make sure the little girl could go to elementary school. The little black girl could go to her school class, where you had to have National Guardsmen shadowing the students as they went from class to class. Are the Democrats willing to exercise power like the liberals of old? I think not. I think not. And so this is the issue. This is the thing that's really interesting. And this is the same thing that happened in January 6th, which there were reports and there were police officers who were disciplined. So it seems pretty clear that this is real, that were helping the rioters come into the Capitol, that were cheering them on, that were giving them back slaps, that were taking selfies. The institutions are corrupt. The Democrats can't deal with that because that would involve a dirty word that every liberal is frightened of: a purge, a cleansing. You need to go and find out who the traitors are. You have to go and get rid of the corrupt cops and the corrupt Secret Service. And this is not a question of when. This is a question of if democracy survives. It has to happen. Secret Service to make changes to presidential detail to bring on agents who worked with Biden. Amid concerns from Biden allies that some current members were politically aligned with President Trump. We talked about this back in the day, but basically, a lot of the senior leadership of the Secret Service was far-right riggers who actually, one of them became the deputy chief of staff of the Trump White House. And chat, are you familiar with the Praetorian Guard? Are you guys familiar with the Praetorian Guard? Just to explain it to you, in ancient Rome, which was a republic with voting, it was illegal to bring weapons into Rome. It was illegal to bring the military into Rome. If you crossed into certain they had sword control, chat. If you crossed within a certain area of the city of Rome, you lost your military status. Okay? So they didn't have a military forces in Rome. They had what were known as the Lictors Guild, which were basically like they're the guys who carried the fasci. Okay? I don't know if you've ever seen a fasci. Let me show you. Fasci. There you go. No. Fascism. Fine. I have to look it up. I have to find it this way because, like, there. You see this thing? This is a fasci. The lictors in Rome would carry these around. And they also have what was known as the urban cohort. I don't remember when the urban cohort started. I'm pretty sure the urban cohort was pre-Empire. Nah, never mind. Okay, never mind. They're after Empire. Basically, the Praetorian Guard were these personal bodyguards of the emperor. And they were basically the equivalent of the Secret Service. Eventually, later in the Roman Empire, Praetorian Guards, since they were the only people allowed to have weapons, and then the urban cohort was later added, they just directly assassinated emperors and appointed themselves emperor. They just got directly involved in politics. You wanted to be the emperor, you would bribe the Praetorian Guard. So the idea that the Secret Service, as the American empire grows, is becoming corrupted and politicized. I mean, do they actually... What is the last, like, true assassination attempt on the president? Like, real assassination attempt that was actually coordinated explanation of fasces and the symbols up to today. Oh, it's a TikTok. This will definitely be right.
This is the fasces. The word fascism derives its name from the fasces. It's found in the Lincoln Monument, the House of Representatives, the statue of George Washington, and many government works of art. But what is a fasces? In ancient Rome, the fasces was a symbol for authority, power, and strength. The word fasces in Latin means bundle. Made from a tightly bound bundle of wooden birch rods, fasces would usually have a single or double-headed axe emerging from them. Fasces were primarily carried by lictors. Lictors were civil servants in ancient Rome who acted as bodyguards to the wealthy. It's said the first Roman king Romulus was the first to appoint 12 lictors to attend him. Roman lictors would follow their patrons everywhere, from the house to the baths, carrying and displaying the fasces with them. Coming across a fasces-wielding lictor could be an ominous and fearful encounter for Romans. Lictors had a penal duty and authority to carry out capital punishment. They could, at their master's command, arrest Roman citizens and punish them. The rods were used to beat, while the axe was used for decapitation. Numerous governments and other authorities have used the images as a symbol of power since the end of the Roman Empire. Next time you're looking at a government work of architecture or art, look closely. You might see the symbol of the fasces hiding in it. This is the fasces.
Yeah,
the word fascism derives
pretty
its
much
name
right.
from
Although Roman citizens had pretty strong rights. And there was Roman, like, I think if people look back at Rome and they think of emperors and shit, they really don't understand Roman history that well. You really don't understand Roman history that well because, for example, they had a practice where if the rich were pissing off people in Rome, all the plebeians, you've probably heard the term pleb. Plebeian just means non-nobility. It just means Roman citizen who isn't a noble. So a middle-class person, basically, or a worker. If the rich were pissing them off, they would just all leave the city and say, fuck you. Run the city yourself. They had general strikes in Rome. What the hell was it called? It has a Latin name. God damn it. Like plebeian something. Plebeian strike in Rome. What the fuck was it called? I found it. Sessio plebis. There you go. Withdrawal of the commoners or secession of the plebs was an informal exercise of power by Rome's plebeian citizens, similar to the concept of a general strike. During the successio plebis, the plebs would abandon the city en masse in a protest immigration and leave the patrician order to themselves. Therefore, a secessio meant that all shops and workshops would shut down and commercial transactions would largely cease. This was an effective strategy in the conflict of the orders due to the strength in numbers. Plebeian citizens made up the vast majority of Rome's populace and produced most of its food and resources, while a patrician citizen was a member of the minority upper class, the equivalent of landed gentry of later times. Because we need a secessio plebis is basically what I'm calling for. All right, let's keep going. Roman history is very interesting.
Important. So she admits, listen, we had Secret Service agents. She has verified this, that they were on their social media accounts, cheering on these insurrectionists, calling them patriots, not necessarily Ornato and Engel, the two that are trying to say that Hutchinson isn't being 100% honest with her testimony. But this definitely paints a very disturbing portrait of what the United States Secret Service is. And of course, more and more reports are starting to come out about how Ornato and Engel were both viewed as, quote, yes men for Donald Trump. All they ever wanted to do was make him happy. They wanted to be a part of that inner circle. Again, this is according to, new reports and information coming out. All of this, of course, difficult to verify, difficult to disprove. So I guess we're going to have to wait for these two gentlemen to go sit in front of that January 6th Select Committee, testify under oath, under penalty of perjury, and tell us their version of events. But here, and this is what I had said yesterday, and I want to repeat it because I think it, bears repeating here. They're really disputing the language that Hutchinson used. The president did not lunge for the steering wheel. He never lunged forward. He never lunged and put his hands on somebody's clavicles. They're making very sure that they pick their words exceptionally carefully.
Yeah, they're being lawyerly. That's all. They're being lawyerly. That's all. You can't believe a word they're saying. They're being lawyerly. Like, it's, you have to, it's not like when someone says, oh, I swear somebody didn't do X, you can really lawyerly speak in a way that's not actually a lie. You have to ask them to describe what actually happened in order to force them to put it into their own words, rather than sitting there, having them sit back and go, no, that didn't happen. Because that's just a matter of like opinion, man.
You know, he didn't lunge for the steering wheel. Maybe he just reached for it. And if they believe that he reached instead of lunged, by saying he didn't lunge, you can, of course, act like you're telling the truth. But in reality, we're just arguing semantics here. You know, we're just quibbling over which words to use. So again, I encourage these individuals to go sit and talk under oath. If you have evidence to dispute what Mrs. Hutchinson says, please do so. You know, we want to make sure all of this is as factually accurate as humanly possible. We don't want to get anything wrong. You know, even with these sensationalistic stories, if they're false, let's prove them false. But that's up to these agents. And so far, the reports coming out in the media aren't making these two guys look very good. But if they want to testify under oath, if they can prove that what Miss Hutchinson said is in fact a lie, do it. If not, you might need to just shut up and let things continue to play out, because it's already making the Secret Service look pretty damn bad.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel.
Okay, dude. Okay, dude. How dare you take advantage of your pets to create a parasocial relationship with your audience? How dare you? How dare you? Like, this is fucked up, you know? How dare you do that? Are you watching the stream unsubbed? You're making income inequality worse. You are doing anti-praxis. We are the only Twitch stream that will not accept scam advertisers, and I will never fuck you over by selling you crap